Assassin's Creed, the official collection, is a brand new set of scale figurines from the video game series, and an accompanying magazine focused on the characters and their place in the Assassin's Creed universe. This is a look at issue 2, which is all about Ezio Auditore da Firenze. Assassin's Creed 2 was released back in 2009. It introduced Ezio, a young Italian noble living in Renaissance-era Italy, which is round about the late 15th century. His charisma, his way with women, his bold attitude, his need to avenge, and his brilliance as a lethal assassin made him an immediate favourite with gamers. He is definitely the best loved assassin, but I would say he is one of the best loved and iconic video game characters. So let's take a look at what we get in the package. So of course you get the big card background. This is used to contain everything on it. It also gives you some close-up pictures of the figure from different angles. If we turn it to the back, we can see, and I'll zoom in a little bit, we can see a preview of some of the other characters that will be coming in the series. So you can see Haytham Caneway, Jacob Fry, Evie Fry, and yeah, basically who's coming up next. And there's also little pictures of what's coming up. And on the front you can see the figure in the plastic cover. It's a 1/21 scale, and you've also got the magazine there. Okay, so this is issue 2 of 80, a total of 80 magazines coming. It has a promotional price of £6.99, although all subsequent issues will be £9.99. It's available in the UK, and the publisher, Hachette Partworks, I do believe they do send out to other European countries. Now, you can also subscribe. If you'd like to do that, see my issue 1 video all about Altair ibn Lahad. I previously had an extended look at the issue, and if you haven't watched it, it explains in depth about the production of the figures, and it gives a full subscription details. Okay, let's go ahead and unpack and open everything. Right, it's stuck down quite well. I'm going to bring out my dear friend Lisbeth. Let's see if she can help, or if I end up just cutting everything. I think Lisbeth may be a bit of overkill. It's stuck down pretty tightly with glue. Ooh. What I don't want to do is crease the magazine, but that seems quite difficult to do, or to not do. As you can see there, it's pretty well stuck on. Ooh. Just one more, and there we go. That's the magazine. So, let's take the magazine out. Okay. So this is the magazine, the accompanying magazine, issue 2, all about Ezio. And let's take a look at it. On the front, I don't know if you can see there, it says "A Myth in the Making." It talks about Leonardo's flying machine and La Bella Italia, the setting. So there are some subscription details. The information about Ezio, which we'll come back to afterwards. But what you can see here is it gives a background on, or some information all about Ezio and the weapons he is wearing, or he is carrying on him. Specifically the weapons that the character has for the figure. Now, here you have Growing Up Fast, which is telling you his background story. And if you've played the games, you see that Ezio was born to a noble family in Italy, and his father and his brother are murdered, and that's what leads him onto the path of the assassins. So it's a very good background history here, and it looks like it's this magazine is effectively a big extended Wikipedia or Wikia entry with these beautiful pictures, and so it just makes it a very good read. And there you also have a little bit about the Pieces of Eden, and that forms such a big part of the game. And Minerva, which you can find out about. So I'm not going to spoil the details of the story for you if you haven't played it, but as you can see, it just gives you, a full background on the character, the story, through the different games, the locations, and that is such a big part of this game, of these series of games, is the locations which give you a sense of being in another place, more so than any regular game, I feel, because you actually feel like you are exploring these Italian streets. And of course you get to see some remarkable characters, meet some remarkable characters, including Leonardo da Vinci. And he designs for you a flying machine which you can use, and it's a great part of the game. And look at this beautiful artwork here, actually. Fantastic. And so that is the magazine, and it's definitely worth a read. So let's take a look at the figure. The publisher, Hachette Partworks, they work in partnership with Ubisoft, and what they do is they use Ubisoft's designs to create a sculpture, and once they get it perfect, they then make it into a mould, and then once they've got the mould, they use that to create the actual figures, and then a series of artists, they will paint each of the figures. They make sure they capture the essence of the character and what it looks like, so that in theory they are able to bring out the detail of the character, their outfit, their weapons and their face. So let's take this out, and here we go. And here we go. This is Ezio for your perusal. Ezio Auditore. And if we look underneath, on the bottom, what we can see here is its unique number. So from that, what we can gather is that there have been at least 19,709 printed, or at least this is number 19,709. There we go. You can see Ezio with his hidden blades there, ready in an action pose, almost ready to attack. It's as if he's just ejected them and is about to run forward and attack someone. So it's a very good pose because it captures the essence of him, which is a man in action, an assassin ready to do his business, so to speak. And you can see there his cloak. Fantastic. Right, so what I'm going to do, bring the magazine which has the details of his weaponry, and let's have a quick look at what it says. Okay, so looking at this, it talks about the dual hidden blades, and the dual hidden blades are these, 1, 2. Now, through collaboration with Leonardo da Vinci, Ezio was able to equip 2 hidden blades, greatly enhancing his own stealth kill capabilities. And that's what they're there for. You know, he could be in a crowd, he suddenly ejects them, and then he can run into action and use them. Very good. And then we read about his branded ring finger, which is, let's see if you can capture it there, just there where the blade is there. And it says, during the Italian Renaissance, newly recruited members of the Brotherhood were required to brand their left ring finger. So that would have been with a marking, burn marking. And it also talks about the nobleman's robes. Ezio was born into a wealthy Florentine family. His missions often required elaborate costumes, such as during the Venice Carnival. And so you can see this lovely cloak and his clothing. And yes, it looks very smart and expensive. And in the game, you actually are able to buy different colored dyes, which you can use to change the color of the clothing and to customize it. And we also hear about if we can read here, about his distinguishing scar. The top lip of a teenage Ezio was torn during a street battle between the Auditore and Pazzi families. Vieri di Pazzi tossed a stone to goad Ezio and his brothers into a fight, hitting Ezio in the face. That is the Ezio figure. Now, I would say that the design of the figure is quite excellent. It is the perfect Ezio pose. This is what Ezio's all about. So they've done well, Hachette with Ubisoft, to put him in this action pose of all poses. And his uniform or his clothing is very good. The only thing I would criticize is that the paintwork could be a little bit better, because if you can see here, the stripes that are in his costume, they're very thin lines of paint, and they look that they could have been a bit more precise. If you see them there, and also on the back. I guess this is limited by the fact that the figure is of quite a small scale, so quite a small size. So there is a limit to how precise the painters, the artists, can be, but I would say this should have been a little bit better. However, overall, it does capture the essence of Ezio. So let me just put everything down. Now, Assassin's Creed 2, in the months before its release, I lapped up every bit of information I could about it. I remember being, just so excited about it, because it was taking the wonderful premise of the first game and putting a fresh new spin on it. Desmond Miles is forced to use a machine to explore his genetic memories, giving you the power to play as Ezio. And so, effectively, it is like time travel in a way, because it is taking you back to Renaissance era Italy. But what made it stand out to me was that it was set in Italy in the dominant era of the Roman Catholic Church, and it contrasted this very formal religion with the so-called truth behind the Bible and Adam and Eve and the pieces of Eden. This was tantalizing to me because it blends religion and fantasy genre and time travel, and it's all blended together in an action-filled conspiracy adventure. And a big credit has to go to the American voice actor Roger Craig Smith. And he was the voice actor for Ezio, and Ubisoft wisely asked him to use an Italian type accent, which gives Ezio a higher degree of believability than if they had given him a standard default American accent. If you subscribe before the 5th issue is out, you do gain some additional items. You get an extra issue free. You get the official collection binder for storing the magazines, an Assassin's Creed wallet, a tank card for drinking Assassin's Creed beer or grog, and a display stand to store the first 10 figures of the collection. If you want to play through Ezio's story for yourself, you can experience it with these games.
I'll kill
Assassin's Creed 2. After his noble family is betrayed, Ezio must learn the ways of the assassin to deliver his revenge. Assassin's Creed 2 Discovery. It's a 2.5D side-scroller where Ezio has to travel to Spain to help the assassins there deal with the Spanish Inquisition. In this title, Ezio is voiced by Kid Beyond.
Ezio Auditore da Firenze.
Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. As a master assassin, Ezio must visit Italy's greatest city, Rome, to lead his guild to defeat the Templars. Assassin's Creed Revelations. Ezio must travel to Constantinople in search of the truth. Assassin's Creed Embers, an animated short movie that is the epilogue to Ezio's amazing story. If you've never played these games or you want to revisit them, let me suggest Assassin's Creed The Ezio Collection. The main Ezio games are remastered for next-gen consoles, and it bundles them with the Embers movie. So this was your look at Assassin's Creed, the official collection, Issue 2, Ezio Auditore da Firenze. Absolutely one of the most iconic video game characters. If you liked it, please hit the thumbs up button. And if you want to see more of these, please let me know in the comment section. Thank you for watching. Nothing is true. Everything is permitted.